What About Bob?
It's a great movie.
This bebop corn that I got at the movie theater is so good. Tastes like pizza.
We have this thing in the bathroom called the Pee Olympics. Like this, it was like, if you think about it, like listening to a kid is almost like Chat GPT creating an AI scenario.
Are there any Raiders fans that even love Jesus?
Hopefully not as busy this week as you were last week and prior weeks.
Last week was definitely busy. This week, no, was a lot easier. Definitely slower pace. I'm trying to find. My therapist has me renting a movie this week that you would be proud of. What About Bob?
It's a great movie.
Yeah. In fact, so he said, watch that. We're going to talk about how you can slow your pace enough to where you're not tripping over yourself. So that's my homework.
You actually have a like one-on-one therapist, or like is this something that like
Yep.
is it
started recently, but yeah, I meet with a therapist every week.
like is it physical or is it over the interwebs?
No, it's over the video chat. We do Zoom
So
style.
what is that called? BetterHelp?
No, I go through a local mental health organization in our area called Bureau. So I meet with a therapist out of there online each week.
But have you ever seen What About Bob?
A long time ago. I think when we
So
were
you
in high
don't
school.
really know anything of what you're going to be watching.
Nope.
That's good.
I remember the basic premise is he's super annoying. I remember that.
Actually, when I asked that question, I was kind of like, you know what? Like, this is you. Like, if Richard Dreyfuss was you, I would have been Bill Murray.
Yeah. I vaguely remember when I watched that movie, I thought to myself, Bill Murray reminds me a lot of Bobby. Like, in the sense that, like, our friendship is a lot like that. But that's the thing. I don't remember the plot of the movie. I just remember how much Bill Murray annoyed Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah, and that's one thing that was different is that, like, I don't want to like give away it's an old movie for people who haven't seen it, but he's a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
It's a mental well, I guess, how do you say this nicely? It is I guess kind of like a therapist point of view of a hypochondriac.
Okay.
So that's like the easiest way to put it.
This might be telling me I'm a hypochondriac then?
No,
Okay.
It's getting over like crutches, and like those crutches always seem bigger to Bob in the movie.
Sure. Yeah.
That's where the phrase baby steps comes from.
Mm.
So, but I really do enjoy the movie. I mean, I enjoyed it more when I was older because I didn't really get it. It wasn't your type of comedy that you'd see today, for sure. It's very Groundhog's Day like, but very, very well worth it. But yeah, I'm very impressed. So tell your therapist I said I completely
support it.
Okay with it.
Got it.
Oh, 100%.
I will let him know. That's cool.
How long have you been seeing this? If you don't mind me asking.
No, not at all. This is week 3, I think. So it's relatively new. Just got some extra stresses going on in my life, and I'm wanting to kind of work through just, I don't know. I got stuff that I don't think I've ever worked through in my life that I've got to process and figure out how to get beyond it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
have you shouted out our podcast?
Have I shouted out our podcast? To my
to your therapist.
I don't.
Maybe he could get a better idea of who you are.
I'm sure he could get a great glimpse into me and who I am by watching this podcast. I don't know that he wants to commit 2 hours of his week to that. He already commits an hour of his week to me.
Oh no! If he just wants some, I guess, light comedy while he's taking a shower.
While he's taking a shower?
That's where I was getting at with What About Bob. With What About Bob, he's like his shadow. Now, if you could just start acting like it's funny that you say that he told you to watch it. Like, I wonder if he's ever had a patient like end up being like Bob. That would be creepy.
That would be.
He's like, is he telling me that he wants me to like go on vacation with him?
Maybe he wants us to be friends. I'm not sure.
Want
Need
to
to
go
watch this
to the
movie.
lake? But no, I'm a Bill Murray fan, but I wouldn't say that I wouldn't ever classify me being at that caliber of comedy by any means. But I heard that he's a jerk, like in real life.
I've heard that too. That
But
he can be
maybe
fucking ruthless.
maybe that's the creativeness in those types of people, because you hear that about like comedic actors and comedians
Yeah, and I
sometimes.
imagine if you've done something for so long, working with new people could get irritating, could get tough. I don't know though. That's still I don't know. I think it's part of I don't know. Some people I think just lose sight of how they get somewhere and they don't remember what it was like in the climb, and so they don't treat people the way they should have been treated.
Do you think that's in everyday life though, also outside
I
of
think it's
just not just
everywhere.
like Hollywood, but like do you
Yeah,
think
no, I
that's
don't
also
think
in like
that's
the
just
ministry?
Hollywood. I think that's everywhere. I think that it is human nature to forget how we felt at a certain age, at a certain time, because we chase such feelings of happiness. I think it's easy for us to forget the support and care that we need. Uh, and I think if we had that more in our mind, I think it'd be easier for us to provide it, to offer it to
Right.
people. But I think it's
Well, it's
just
funny that you. Oh, go ahead.
well, I think what it comes down to is when it's no longer relevant to your daily life, your brain makes room for other things. And there's an element to that that's good, that's necessary for us to grow and move forward. But there's also an element to it that I think we have to have a memory of where we were and what it was like so that we can make sure that those coming after us experience it a little bit better. You know
Did
what
you
I
ever
mean?
see that Mr. Rogers, I guess, interview with Oprah when she had him on his show back in like 84, 85? She
Probably.
asked him like a
I'm sure I've
question.
seen it.
I think she said like, what is it about parenting or something along those lines about parenting? What is it that you would say to parents today about parenting, like what it should look like versus what it actually looks like?
Right.
And he something goes something along the line of like to not forget about your childhood.
Mm.
He says that a good parent is somebody who remembers the good things as being a child or something like that.
Yep. You remember the good things and you recreate them. You recreate that for your kids.
And that's the sad part is the some kids that don't get to, I guess either they didn't have that opportunity to be a child in life, like they either had to grow up too early or they had to almost fend for themselves more or less
Yeah.
down, I guess, growing up. Like those are the kids that usually are the ones that are uh I guess people like The Rock or the Joe Rogans in the world are the ones that didn't necessarily have like they had to grow up early in life, so
Right.
they didn't want that in life, so they didn't want to have to struggle, and they didn't want their kids to struggle.
Sure. I think it's
So
even more critical, though, for those people to recognize and see, hey, I missed out on this. So it's critical that I create this for my kids.
without spoiling them, of
Yeah,
course.
without spoiling them, without creating a culture where they're justified in everything they do. That's not what you're trying to do. If anything, I would say, teach them all of the lessons that you learned through your struggle without making them experience that struggle.
Right.
Still teach them the wisdom that you learned from that.
Well, it's funny that we're bringing up being like kids, right? I went to Wichita with Jamie, and her oldest turned 31, I think, yesterday.
Okay.
And we were at this place down there. We were having burgers and like the froyo stuff where you fill up your cup and you wait and all that stuff, right? And I was remembering a time. when Brock. It was when it's when I met Brock for the first time, and I took
Yeah.
him and his mom to the drive-in movie theater in Derby. And I don't remember if it was in the bathroom there or if it was later on, like that weekend. But I remember him telling me a story. Have you ever had your kid tell you, or any kid, tell you a story that like it was so believable, right? And it was
Uh-huh.
like, oh my God. Like when I heard him tell me this, it had so many specifics that it was like, there's no way this could be false, right? But anyway, the story is that we were either in the bathroom or we were in another public bathroom that weekend. And I was telling him about the 1, 3, and 5 rule, like up at
Oh
the
yeah.
urinals.
Yeah.
So I told him that, and he was like, he looked at me, he's like, what? He goes, man, like in school, we have this thing in the bathroom called the Pee Olympics. And I was like, right,
The
that's the
what?
exact same look that I had, the exact same look that I had. And I was like, you had the what? He goes, we have the Pee Olympics. And I was like, well, what are the Pee Olympics? And so this is where he hooked me. And this is like a YouTube video type hook, right? And he
Yeah.
hooked me. He literally went into detail. Oh yeah, I'll have to go get mine.
Mm.
But he went into detail about like the competitions that they have in the public bathroom, in the school's boys' bathroom, about peeing for distance, pee trick shots, and like peeing from like an absurd like part of the room into another urinal, right? Like almost like pig or horse for like urinating, right?
What?
And it was so believable that like he didn't tell me for like maybe I told his mom this story and she's like, "What?" Like, yeah, and I had I had no reason to not believe this story because of because of how specific he was, and two, as a child, I had to almost kind of like I've done some weird stuff in my life. Maybe not that, but I've done some weird stuff in life that this could very well be 100% true, right? And then I want to say it was maybe a couple months after that, like when his mom had brought it up, he was like, I was joking with him the whole time. And I was like, no, you weren't. That was so specific. I was like, that was like Hollywood acting specifics. Like you gave me a Vince Vaughn rant of a specific track and field event of peeing in the boys' bathroom, right? And
Oh
I
man.
told him from at this restaurant, I was like, I was almost thinking about having you come on and just telling the story about how you got me. Like he told me that they would do like hopscotch things and then like jump in the air and pee into the urinal. And I'm like, what?
And you bottle this? Like
Okay, but
you didn't
check
want
this
to
out.
think this kid might be pulling my leg.
Oh, I definitely thought it, but that's when I started going like that was very like thought out. Like it was almost like a real event, like something you could see on YouTube, right?
you're,
But like
you're visualizing the P Olympics.
no, I'm visualizing the like what I used to do. So like we used to do stupid stuff with like rocks and stuff, or we used to do like it was something so dumb. Like one time, like I don't think this was with you, but like we were like me and Levi, I think we were in Oklahoma and we had these weird circles in his street and we would throw a rock into the air and we'd have to have the rock had to land on the concrete before a car went by, and the closer we got to the center circle, that's who won. But if the rock bounced in in the circle on the concrete and then hit a car that was coming by, you automatically won the game. Like it was something like that. Like he went step by step and we created these own rules, and he even went down this rabbit hole of rules about the P Olympics, but it was so believable. And that's when you like I was talking about Mr. Rogers about remembering it as a child, like we forget like how either fun it was, I mean obviously also how bad it could have been.
I was gonna say,
But
man, I
like
don't think this is what Mr. Rogers meant
no,
when
I'm
he
saying
talked
like I
about remembering
when
your
I actually
child.
right. But when I was said it, I was like, you know what? I was like, man, I'm going to bring this story up since I was talking to Brock about it. But he's very proud that he like got this off on me. First of all,
Well, he
so
should be, man.
bravo, so
Great.
bravo.
That's a great
But I
prank. Well
mean,
done, Brock.
and it wasn't. I wouldn't even say that it was necessarily a prank because if you think about it, this could have happened. Like this legitimately could have 100% been a thing because when I first like when I first thought that it was a joke, right? I immediately went to Randy Dowling. I remember him saying something along the lines of, "We were the gayest senior class he had ever put up with." You remember that? That's what I'm saying. I immediately thought of Randy when he said, "This is the gayest senior class I've ever had to coach." And immediately I went in my head, I was like, I don't know if he's 100% right on that, because this class could have been pretty gay.
No, gosh.
But it's kids. Like, kids say some of the craziest things, and if they are good storytellers, like have you ever had a kid tell you a story and you've not just wondered if it was true or not, but
Oh
like
God, yeah.
kind of put that into like, this very well could be true, but I'm going to ask if it's true.
Yeah, no. One of our closest friends here, Jen, their little boy Owen, he's 3 now, so he's just at the right age where he's got that imagination is running wild. But he will straight up tell you a story for 5 minutes that's not true at all. He was telling me the other day about how his trucks in his bedroom caught on fire. And I'm like, what are you talking about, kid? Like,
It's very detailed.
yeah, no. And he will tell you all of it. And then you're like, then you got to look at his mom and be like, is this like, did this really happen? Or is he making something up right now?
Well, Jamie's granddaughter, Holly, she did that one day, she told a story about an owl that was outside of her room, and she's 3, right? But she speaks so well. It's
Yeah.
like, and usually when like I catch on that like this could be fake, like usually they either stumble over their own words or they don't necessarily know what word they're trying to say. But without
Well,
her
they just
doing that,
don't stay consistent. You know what I mean?
right. Like,
When
she
they
said
stay
these words.
consistent, though, it's a problem because you're like,
Yeah.
maybe this is
Like,
real.
like this, it was like, if you think about it, like listening to a kid is almost like Chat GPT creating an AI scenario. It's like, it's very well possible that it could have happened, but like it's also being painted in your head. It's like, what?
You're like, this could be real, or this could be completely fictional, and I have no way of knowing.
And I don't care because the story's so good.
Right? It's like it's vivid. I'm captured. It really doesn't matter whether this is real or not. You've got my attention.
I wonder if that's how Harry Potter got started. Like, her kid told her this crazy story, and she was like, "Oh my god, this is a great book. I know it's not true, but the kid literally sold me on an idea that like I could make billions."
That's
And I've never seen Harry Potter.
that's totally Lord of the Rings, though. That it started as a bedtime story
For
for his
real?
kids. Yeah, and then his kids started complaining because the details changed. And so he's like, "This is annoying. I'm just going to write it down."
So it's kind of like Chronicles of Narnia. Like, wasn't that a bedtime story of like the Bible
Chronicles
for
of
his
Narnia is
kids?
also yep, yep. In fact, those
That's
two authors,
crazy.
Tolkien and Lewis, were close friends.
See, I've never been a Harry Potter like it's never like appealed to me at all. But like I could definitely see how like people can get lost in the, I guess, magical,
The wonder of it. Or was it?
not even just the wonder, but the detail in it. Like how they
Mm,
give each person a, I mean, even just watching people talk about it on YouTube, because I've done that just because it's either been on a podcast or on a video, but like they go into so much detail and they have so much of a backstory. It's almost kind of like Jordan and the NFL players, or an
mhm.
athlete, how they came up in the college world and then they made it to the NFL and now look what they're doing in the NFL. It's like so detailed that it's like I could see how it definitely could hook somebody.
There's an entire universe there.
Same with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Absolutely, baby.
same with uh I mean,
This
what do
bebop
they call that?
corn that I got
Bebop
at the movie
corn.
theater is so good. Tastes like pizza.
So was that a popcorn for that movie, or was that just for that theater?
No, so it was like for that movie they were making it. It's got pizza seasoning, Parmesan cheese, and then pepperoni chips in it.
Ugh.
It's good.
Pepperoni chips,
Yeah,
like bacon
like
bits.
slices. No, like slices,
Oh, okay. Huh.
but like
So
dried.
Did they serve it hot, or was it like already pre-made and you bought like a container of it?
No, they served it hot.
Wow.
Oh, good.
But pizza flavor, like it's hard to recreate the seasoning of. I guess Italian seasoning would be like the only thing that I could think
You
of.
mean a little bit of garlic, a little bit of Parmesan cheese.
Oh, I could see how that could taste good for sure. I mean,
Oh,
minus
it's
the
very good.
Parmesan.
It's very good.
And it's not that Parmesan tastes bad; it just smells horrendous. And coming out of like a hot bag, like I couldn't imagine that smelling very good in the movie theater. Like a giant fart or turd or
As
foot,
Jordan would
somebody
say,
that
a giant foot.
a giant foot sitting next to you. Was the
On a
movie any good?
plane. Oh, the movie was great, dude. Very well
And it
done.
was animated, right?
Uh-huh. Done in the same fashion of like Into the Spider-Verse and Across the
Never saw that.
Spider-Verse. I don't know if you saw that. So animated, but kind of feels like comic book style. So it's really it's well done.
And I saw that they had a few people. I watched a TikTok, I think it was. You know that the guy that raps on TikTok, like he has
Um,
people give him keywords.
yeah, yes, sir.
What's his name?
Um,
Uh,
it is um Mac. Come on, JD.
oh, Mac.
Uh
I know. Oh, I
seriously,
had it
JD.
right there.
I'm so disappointed in
Mac.
myself.
I
Never
follow him on
skip
TikTok.
Harry Mac. Never
Harry
skip
Mac.
a Harry Mac
Okay.
video. Come on, you know better, JD.
Okay.
Never skip
Okay.
a Harry
Harry
Mac.
Mac. It showed
Harry
him,
Mac,
Ice Cube.
freestyle rap artist. He's phenomenal.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, he does a freestyle for Ice Cube and the crew. And Ice Cube himself is impressed. And that to me is like, that's got to make Harry Mac's day because Ice Cube's one of the OGs.
I saved a movie in my or a video in my queue on my YouTube, and it was a either a psychiatrist or a psychologist breaking down Harry Mac's mind and
Ooh,
how he can freestyle. So
that's
I
it.
saved it to watch later.
I'm curious because I've wondered how he's able to stay ahead in his rapping the way he does because it's phenomenal.
Has he made his own like albums or anything like that? I don't follow him that close or anything. So
He has stuff online, but seriously, his fame is because he freestyles. So almost everything you're gonna find that's amazing of his is just gonna be videos on the internet of him freestyling for people, and they give him
what
the
words
right
was he
word.
given?
Oh man,
If he
I
came
would give
on here
him
right now,
I would give him contemplate. I would give
contemplate,
him yep contemplate. Uh, I would give him uh, exacerbate.
exacerbate. You got three
Exacerbate.
words.
Yeah,
So you give him three,
exacerbate,
and then I'll give him three.
exacerbate, contemplate, and uh, fidelity.
Fidelity.
Yeah, it's like strength, uh, sturdiness. Fidelity
Yeah.
is like the
Foundation.
ability to endure. Yeah,
Okay, mine would be.
I'm gonna make him work with those three.
I would say Chubby Buddies. Number two, P Olympics. number three, number three, and he doesn't like having food or animals. So number
Yeah, he doesn't like
three,
that.
a neuroscientist.
A neuroscientist.
Neuroscientist.
Nice. I like it. I like it. So there you go, Harry Mack. If you ever come across this video, there are your challenge words. Let's hear the freestyle, man, because you are the best freestylist I've ever seen.
So
So
what does he do in the movie? Does he make the ninja rap?
uh I
That would
don't
be cool.
know. I don't know.
I didn't know if he was like affiliated with the movie.
I don't think so. I think it was just kind of promotional stuff.
Like that would be pretty cool to see him do like the reenactment of the ninja rap.
Heck yeah,
Go
dude.
ninja, go
I would
ninja,
love
go.
for him to have some sort of role in creating some sort of Ninja Turtle tune or something like that.
So I'm gonna assume Seth Rogen played one of either Beat Bop or
Seth
what was the
Rogen
other
was
one?
Bebop.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So Warthog and they changed, so it's kind of an origin story, but it also kind of recreates. I mean, If you watch it, it's going to be similar to watching, gosh, I don't know, maybe the original cartoons is what I would say as far as like the first couple episodes as far as like plot. Um there's new elements because it's now owned by Nickelodeon, so they've got the Utrams, which are kind of the new villains. Um um Utram's the owner of TRCI, or TCRI, whatever. TCRI. That's the company that makes the ooze. Um, yeah,
So is this like a
I'm
cartoon of the
diving
ooze?
way too deep into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lore. So, suffice it to say, it's a really cool story. It doesn't quite get all of the nostalgia that, old school Ninja Turtles fans would want, but it's really well done. Creates a very dynamic cast and is definitely set up well to do multiple sequels. And those will hit all the nostalgia you're looking for. So it's
So
going
did
to be
Ice
great.
Cube produce it, or is he like,
Ice Cube was the villain in this one.
so he's Shredder, or
No, no, Shredder's not the villain in this.
okay? So it's not is it the ooze like from no, that's Power Rangers. My bad. Power Rangers the ooze. That's what I was
So
thinking. I don't know
yeah,
why.
it's not the Foot Clan and the Ooze. So what they deal with here is more so, um, like I said, this one's kind of an origin story. I don't want to give away too much of the movie, but it's an origin story that retells how the turtles came to be. Talks about their relationship with Splinter, and then kind of explains how the mutants exist. And so it kind of just laid out a bevy of the mutants that were from the old 90s cartoon, one of which is my favorite, Mondo Gecko, because he's awesome. Paul Rudd nails it. So funny. Uh,
Paul Rudd is it? Who is he in?
Mondo Gecko in the movie.
Okay,
And Mondo Gecko's hilarious. Like it's part villain, part good guy, like surfer
and he
dude.
is
He's
also a Kansan. So
super chill. It's great. Paul Rudd's a perfect cast for it. But no, it's really well done. And then, like I said, it sets up really well for a couple of more movies that are going to be really good.
did you like the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles?
I did. I appreciated them for what they were. The downfall, it
I
was.
didn't like the story change. That's the only thing I didn't
That's the
like.
problem. There was a story change to it. The acting, I loved having Will Arnett in it. Will Arnett was hilarious. Megan Fox was Megan Fox. She does what she does. It felt too much like they were trying to recreate what they did with Transformers. And
Never seen those either.
I don't know. The first Transformers were good. I don't
So
know
on
that
a
I ever
scale
did
of
any.
1 to 5, if you were going to write a review for the Ninja Turtles remake,
Perfect.
I would personally give them a 3 out of 5 because
We're we're
it
talking the
wasn't a
Michael
good
Bay.
story. Yeah, the Michael Bay.
Yeah.
So I'd give them a 3 out of 5 because of I loved the animation they did behind the turtles. I loved
Sweet.
that. I loved that they kept the pretty much the I guess not just behavior, but I guess the sense of humor behind every single turtle in it.
Yes.
Like Michelangelo was perfect, and was it Raphael that was played by the guy that plays Jack Reacher, and then he also plays the guy from Blue Mountain State.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean they did Raphael perfect, Michelangelo perfect, and Donatello and Donatello when he was kind of the nerdy one,
Yep.
right?
Donatello was well done.
Who played
I don't think
Donatello?
they
I
messed
can't.
up the characters at all. I don't think they gave
Right,
Splinter enough attention in
right.
that movie. Um, at the end of the day, here's what I would say. That one, I think 3 out of 5 is a perfectly good rating. What it lacked in story and depth, it made up for in visuals and experience. So it felt like a cool Ninja Turtles movie, even if it wasn't a very good Ninja Turtles movie, if that makes sense.
Right.
This one is more like a 4.5 out of 5. This one is really
Because of
well.
the story.
Story's really well done. Characters really well done. One thing I really like about this that they talked about in the interview process was this is the first time, number one, that it's been actual teenagers that voice the turtles, and number two, they actually do the voicing together, record in a studio together. And so there's a lot more banter that happens in this one that's way more natural sounding and way more funny, and actually sounds like four brothers
Hmm.
rather than script writing, which has always heavily influenced their dialogue.
So was it kind of like Alvin and the Chipmunks when they did that? Like, you know how they were like nitpicking at each other, like going
Kind of,
like they were
yeah.
feeding off of each other.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. They feed off of each other really well in this. And in fact, there's times when you can see them bullying each other as brothers that just feels the most authentic to any Ninja Turtle movie I've ever seen. And they're not like bullying being mean, but like one thing that they talk
It's
about
being
is
brothers.
yeah, it's being brothers. It's brothers being brothers, and like Michelangelo talks about splitting his name up and being I'm Italian, Michelangelo, and then they crack a joke about what Leonardo's name would be, and then they all start calling him that, and it's hilarious.
And Michelangelo, like the kids that play these, like, do the kid's voice actually like match up to the character of that
Yeah,
person?
yep,
Like, because that's what I found very intriguing about Michael Bay's is that the people that they had playing those turtles, like their demeanor matched the turtles' demeanor, and I found that to be like almost the selling point of that movie
yeah.
franchise.
I think when you watch this, you'll be impressed. It's really well done.
I'll probably wait till it comes out. I probably won't. I'm not a big. I did go to see John Wick. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I have
Certain,
nothing wrong with the movie
certain
theater
movies need
itself.
to be seen in theaters. Other movies don't
Yeah.
have to be.
Number one is Interstellar. Number two is
Oh
John
yeah,
Wick.
Interstellar should be seen in theaters.
Like, that's the
I
only
want to see
place.
Oppenheimer in theaters before it
Oh
goes.
yeah,
Um,
that's the only place they should allow Interstellar to be seen is in the movie theaters because, like, it doesn't like at home. I've seen it. It just doesn't do it justice on
can
your
I tell
TV.
you how much joy it gives me that you love Interstellar? Like,
But it's not. It's the nerdum in it. Like I enjoy the how they came up with certain things and the plot twists and all that. But
yeah,
I also think that the Matthew McConaughey is by far a top tier actor. But I
yeah,
also think
he's good.
the relationship between him and his daughter added to the movie so much
For
because
sure.
of how much she actually. I mean, I don't want to give anything away of how much she actually meant to the movie itself. So
Mhm.
I enjoyed it very much. So yeah,
Very good.
you can. I will say that I nerded out on that movie, but just like Ninja Turtles, like I remember sitting at home watching the old Burger King commercials and seeing the animated Ninja Turtles. Like that was their intro. I think was a Burger
Oh
King
yeah.
thing. And I mean, every time I think of Burger King, I think of Ninja Turtles. Like I don't know why, but it was just how it is. But
I think they ran a lot of
growing
ads
up,
for Burger King.
right. And growing up, like they don't make the cartoons or shows like they used to at all. Like I would say the best show that I guess is newer for our generation would be like the ones that I could probably watch would be Phineas and Ferb. Like that's the only
Mm-hmm.
one that I can go back
Phineas
on
and
and
Ferb was
say
a good
I
cartoon.
enjoyed it.
Did you ever watch?
Was
Oh no, that was Phineas and Ferb. You dummy.
it was very
um,
Pinky and the Brain esque. It
did you
had
ever watch Fairly Odd Parents? That one was
I
good.
never saw that. That was a Cartoon Network one, right? With like
Um, Cartoon Network or was that Nickelodeon?
I don't remember. I only watched the Phineas and Ferb like the streaming,
No, it
like
was
when they
Disney.
put it on.
Was it? I don't remember.
Phineas and Ferb is Disney, yeah,
Yeah,
I
Phineas
think
and Ferb
because
is
it's on the
Disney.
Disney Channel.
I don't remember. Fairly Odd Parents might have been Nickelodeon.
Okay, I don't think I've seen. Is that the one where like
But it was good.
they're like, are they fairies or
Yeah,
are they
yeah,
like?
yeah.
Okay, I know
They're fairy
the character look.
godparents, little Timmy, and he's got fairy godparents too.
I heard that that was kind of like the Jetsons mixed with something else. Like it was
It was
very
just really creative
futuristic.
and really fun. Like it was really kind of wacky, and it's I really like the animator who was behind it. He does a lot of good
But
stuff.
like when I think of Phineas and Ferb, right? I think of so many shows and cartoons that it kind of plays homage to. Ren and Stimpy, Pinky and the Brain, and then one that kind of throws people off when I bring it up is Even Stevens,
How so?
the sister Ren. is
Mm-hmm.
always trying to get her brother, Shia LaBeouf, and his
Yep.
friend in trouble.
Yep.
But
That's
it's not his
true.
brother. That's the only thing.
It's just like that with Candace and Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Good
I
point.
enjoy
I
that
didn't
type
even
of,
make that connection.
it just plays homage to, like, I guess, old cartoons that we grew up with in a way without
Yep.
actually trying to. Maybe they're probably kind of taking, like, kind of
Well, I
how
think it
Seinfeld did
still
with comedies.
captures the spirit of freedom in kids. Because that's what Phineas and Ferb is. These kids are on summer break and they're trying to find something to do with their day.
Right.
And at the end of the day, that's what like freedom is. Like it's boredom. It's you got to go find something to do with your time.
Yeah.
We did that
Like the
as
mom
kids.
says in Sandlot, go climb a fence,
Yeah.
break windows, get your knees bloody. Like, they just don't make cartoons like that anymore. And that's the only thing that, like, when I do watch, like, when my wife's kid, her granddaughter, my bad. Okay, I will say it. She's my granddaughter. Okay.
There
I'm
you
not going to
go.
just throw it out there. Holly, when she watched cartoons, I cannot do it. Like, I have to leave the room. I can't do it.
What
She
does she
wants to
watch?
watch, uh, is it Baby Boss? Is that one of them?
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
You know what I think you would watch? Bluey.
Okay, she doesn't like that. My wife
Really?
tried to get her to watch it. She walks away.
Ah, because Bluey would be something I think you'd watch.
My wife says that too. Then we tried to get her to watch the Smurfs, like the animated,
Yeah.
and the one with Neil Patrick Harris, the movies. And then she watches what's that? She was a big Coco Melon fan there for a while, and oh my lord, if any cartoon made you sick, Coco Melon is probably number one.
Yeah.
And then
That
number
bad,
two for me, I would say the Baby Shark song. Like,
huh?
she only want to watch the intro to the Baby Shark show, like, and then move on. Oh, and then I will give this one movie credit just because it has more than one meaning behind it, and that's the movie Home. Like, and I think that
Ooh,
the guy that plays Sheldon, like,
yeah.
plays this character very well.
Yeah. Home's a good
That's
movie.
one movie that she wants to watch it every time she's here. I just got tired of it. She only wants to watch it because of the music behind it. She likes the songs, so I think it's good we jumped into entertainment now because this could have gone on a while. But I
You're
do have
thinking
one
of
more thing to add
all
about
right.
in the entertainment. I just started watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Okay.
Ooh.
And I can't help but say that Dave Bautista was the best plugged, I guess, Hollywood actor for a character ever made. No, nothing. It's
Absolutely.
almost like me saying that Ted Lasso, like, Ted Lasso was, I guess, what do you say? This was staffed perfectly with the
Yeah.
perfect,
Cast
with the
perfectly.
it was
Yeah.
perfectly casted,
Yeah.
but nothing has been perfectly casted better than the character that Dave Bautista portrays in Guardians of the Galaxy. Nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
And from what I read, I don't know if this is true or not. I read somewhere that he's supposed to portray somebody with autism. Have you read that somewhere?
I hadn't read
Like the way
that.
he talks, the way
Well,
he
the literalness is, I mean, yeah, is part of his character. I mean, he's an alien, so like that's
right,
the species breed. Characteristics of autism. I wouldn't say he perfectly.
right. But I'm saying, like, the way that he was put into, like, I doubt that anybody said, "Oh, this guy's going to be perfect for it," until Volume 1 came out. And then I think he's very under I guess graded in the whole, I guess, trilogy now. He's very undergraded in my opinion because he's not, Dave Bautista himself isn't talked about as playing this character at all.
See,
And
I think a
what's
lot
his
of
name again?
people Drax the
Drax. Okay.
Destroyer, and I would say a lot of people love Batista in that role. Early on, it was niche, but he's developed it so well to give life to that character. You know, at like if you go back and watch the first movie, it's kind of a one-dimensional character,
Mm-hmm.
intentionally so. the way he's developed it, because by 3, because I watched 3 with Heather in theaters and it was so good. Like Dave Bautista is so good for that role, and as an actor, he has grown a ton just in this trilogy.
This
Like
is
I'm
why I think
very
number
impressed with who
one,
he is as an actor now. I want
right?
to see.
And this is
Have you seen Knock on the Woods, Cabin in the Woods, or Knock on the Door, something like that? It's
Cabin
one
in
that
the
Dave
Woods.
Bautista's in.
A knock at the door. Oh
A
my
Knock at the
lord,
Door, I
dude.
think. I
Okay,
haven't seen it yet.
okay. Now, without giving anything away about that part, because I still want to revert back to what I was saying, without giving anything away, it is the first M. Night Shyamalan movie. I still have no idea what the plot was at the end.
The first one,
And,
because I've seen several
no,
M. Night Shyamalans that I don't know.
I've called almost every the only one I did not call of M. Night Shyamalan was Signs. It's the only one I was not able to actually call at the end.
Bollocks. Bollocks.
I swear to God,
You
I
called the
knew he
village.
was dead.
You
I
called the
yes,
village.
100%. Because this is why.
Bollocks.
Because like I'm going to say it was a month before the movie even came out. Oprah Winfrey had somebody on. I think it was the girls that escaped one of the Utah Mormon like villages or something like that. I called it right away, just boom. Because
Man.
if you think about
Man.
it, the village is 100% possible. Like I bet you we don't even know anything about it yet. I bet you there's so many of those types of like, I guess, cult like villages that are around us today that people are doing that. If you think about it,
That's a
I don't know if
stretch,
you,
man. To keep somebody that deep in the dark about all of humanity's growth and existence.
and to scare
Respect.
them. I mean, I think we see it. I think we see it very much so also with the internet. Like people who try to stop people from talking because they don't want to let too much information out or anything like that. Granted, that's very big looking at that big picture, but I'm saying in a small convent type, like small, like rural area, like in Utah or in somewhere like, especially Missouri, like Missouri has so many nooks and crannies in it that you could definitely get away with depending upon the leader, of course. But like you could get away with running something like that. I'm sure it's going on today. I mean, we have things like that today.
Well, hey, look, human trafficking exists, and there's no question about that. And so the
Right.
reality is that's tragically a reality in our world. So there are places where people are being held against their will, um, without yeah, like we know that exists. So film aside, for sure that does exist, and it needs to be corrected. I mean, we've got to
And the only
address.
reason I called that movie, like the only reason why I was kind of like, oh, this is probably this, and this, is because I literally sat down like a month before that and saw an episode of Oprah Winfrey, and there was some lady that either I think she escaped a village type convent or area and made it out alive. I mean,
Hmm.
that's the only reason why I brought it up. Granted,
So
I was shooting for
back to what you were saying about
the
Drax,
stars.
because you said you wanted to come back to Drax. Tell me what you were saying
Yes.
about.
Well, this is what I want to say. I think Volume One was meant to, like you said, he played. It was very one layered character, right?
Mhm.
I think that also can play into that. It could be meant as an autistic person, like, and this is why I say that because they are like when in episode one or volume one or however you want to call it, he doesn't have any friends or people around him, so he's very standoffish, very
Mhm.
blunt, one worded, very shy. He's a very shy character, and unless he wants to be aggressive, of course, which is it's a trait to autistic people.
Mhm.
I mean, they can be aggressive. They are very standoffish until they get to know you. But then, volume two, he's around more people. He's more comfortable around those people, and anytime he's put in a stressful situation, he doesn't get he gets I guess more standoffish and quiet like when he's around other people. Very one line worded I guess scenes in the movies when he's around new characters that the Guardians of the Galaxy people bring in, if you notice that.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same thing about introverts, though. They're quiet around new
Yeah.
people.
But how many introverts are autistic?
I think I would caution us to be careful how quickly and easily we use autism as a phrase. Having a kid who's autistic,
Right.
there's a difference. There's a radical difference.
You know
Um,
what? You want to know who Dave Bautista reminds me of as that character is
one of the
Drac?
key things of why I don't think he's autism, like why he's portraying autism, the eye contact.
Okay, now this is where I'm gonna like I'm not trying to change your mind. This is where I'll play into that. My brother, who is also autistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I 100% see Drac in my brother. 100%. One, because my brother says some funny ass shit
No,
without even
your
trying
brother's
to,
hilarious, dude.
and Drac had me spitting my drink out there before I came in here. I stopped the episode. I stopped the movie like when they get in their car to go to the pyramid or whatever they call it when they
Oh
land
yeah,
on that planet. That's where I stopped it. So it's about halfway.
hilarious.
When I saw him throw that ball at that kid,
Whack.
I laughed so hard. Like and 100% in my mind I was like I could see my brother Aaron doing that without intending to hurt somebody because that is
Yeah, it's
100%
an
my
impulse
brother.
control thing. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But my
Gosh,
brother, again, like when I see him play this character, I think of my brother just because my brother does give people eye contact, very standoffish, very one-worded like answers with everything, and he's very blunt when he gives an answer, but he's 100% being he's very well like you wouldn't
yeah,
assume him to be
he's
educated, but
intelligent.
he has a degree in history.
Yeah,
Like it blows my mind. But like I just see a lot of traits in his character in the movie and my brother. And that's kind of like where I was like, I could believe it. Now, I
yeah.
mean, whether it's true or not, I just read it, of course. So it's the internet. So, but I'm not trying to change your mind. This is just why I saw it because when he threw that ball, oh my gosh! And then he's
I
laying on that
definitely see it.
couch.
I definitely
He's
see what
laying on
you're
that
getting
couch. My brother 100% would do that couch thing. He lays on the couch everywhere he goes, and that's where I was like, oh my god, my brother's done this probably so many times, and
at.
I didn't really as a younger kid I didn't get embarrassed, but as I got older I was kind of like, oh, I mean, and I never had to explain my brother's reasoning behind anything because he did it himself. He's like, it's okay. He goes, I'm tired. Why is the couch why is the couch elongated? If you weren't meant to lay on it, why is the couch elongated? I don't know. If you guys are listening and you haven't seen Volume 3 of Guardians of the Galaxy, I 100% recommend it. It's so far a
Watch
great
it.
movie.
It's funny.
Hopefully we have our special guest enter. If not, then maybe next time. While you're listening, I highly appreciate. I want to say that I appreciate people who do listen and hit that like button. This last week we had a lot more likes, and they listened like for an hour and 14 minutes without shutting it off. That was the average time listened to it. So shout
Nice.
out the people that are listening to it. We had
Thank
just a
you.
few less listeners, but they're listening longer. So
Good. Good.
either
Good. Good.
they're listening to what Josh has to say about aliens, or I mean, that could have been the episode.
They
Like that
could
could have
be
been why they
listening to what
listened.
I have to say about cheese. Mazithra, baby.
See, I wonder how many. I want to listen. If you're listening to this and you're going to comment, I want to know how many people have ever heard of Mazithra cheese because
I
it
can talk
sounds
to you all
100%
about
like a
some
planet.
cheese. Let me take y'all to
That's for a
Osceola, which is a couple hours north of here, which has 275 different cheeses. I got a 10-year aged cheddar there last year. Oh, so good.
See, your cheese is kind of like I guess my whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only I don't really care about the age, but like whiskey, I think I could do what you do with cheese, but with whiskey.
I'm down. That's like if yeah, cheese connoisseur would definitely be something I'm 100% willing to put on my resume for sure.
What do they call those people that are cheese? Not necessarily tasters, but they could tell you like what type of origin it's from. What do they call? Like, do they call them? They're not connoisseurs.
Yeah, connoisseur is usually the phrase that people would use.
I thought that there was another actual like kind of like how people do
Oh,
whiskey
like
and wine.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like how there's a sommelier for wine.
Sommelier. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Is there a
So
cheese sommelier?
I'm about to Google that. You better believe. I need to
Could you
know
do
if
that for
that's
a part-time job?
yes, in a heartbeat.
Okay, here you go. Here's a question. Would you rather be a cheese sommelier, or B, you have to choose, or B, a chaplain for the Las Vegas Raiders?
No.
You said you'd be a chaplain for any NFL team, but 100% the
31
Chiefs.
teams. 31 teams I would be an NFL chaplain
Okay.
for.
Okay, would you rather be a cheese
Are there any
sommelier?
Raiders fans that even love Jesus?
I don't know. Now that they moved to Vegas, that's all they have. I mean, I
That's
don't
what
know.
I'm getting at. Like, do any of them even like now that Derek Carr's gone? Do any of them even proclaim Jesus? Like,
I don't
I know,
know. I mean,
I know. A chaplain is more than just Jesus. I'm well aware of that. Um,
I mean, Jimmy G may very well turn that program around. Who knows? We will see. But a cheese sommelier or the Dallas Cowboys chaplain.
the American Cheese Society offers the title Certified Cheese Professional (CCP).
Oh,
That
I
is an
like sommelier
individual
better.
who has acquired thorough knowledge and the level of expertise that is demanded within the cheese industry. So
I like sommelier better. Sounds more professional.
it's the sommelier of cheese.
The sommelier of cheese. But no, would you rather
Parmesan.
do that or be a chaplain for the Dallas Cowboys?
Uh, probably Chaplin, just because like I'm more equipped
It's
for
your
it. But the cheese
You were not
professional.
equipped to be a cheese expert?
I mean, I am because I have taste buds and I love cheese. But I
What's
don't
your
know.
least favorite cheese?
Uh,
And I'm only
smoked,
bringing up cheese in case that was
smoked
the hook
Gouda.
for listeners.
Smoked
Smoked
Gouda
good is your least
for
favorite
sure is
cheese.
really low on there. Not a fan of brie. It's
Brie.
okay. It's just not that impressive
Is
to
that the
me.
BRIE
Yeah,
cheese?
yeah. It's kind of bland. It's a real,
Now,
just
what is
smooth
this
kind of.
cheese? It's called like something head cheese. It's
Oh, that's not actually even cheese though.
right,
That's
but
the
they call it
thing.
a cheese. It's like
Yeah,
something head cheese, like
it's a
coat head
meat.
cheese, or
I think it's like a meat thing. Yeah, it's a dish.
it sounds very gross.
It's meat jelly.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's so
So it's
gross.
kind of like that. Have you seen that fish in a can challenge? Like that disturbs me. People that immediately crack that can open, like to get the one crank going on the can opener, immediately start gagging.
Mm,
Have you seen those videos? It's like
no,
it's a cheese or a cheese. It's a fish in a can from like Sweden or something, I think. And they
gross.
have you ever seen a Trailer Park Boys ever?
No.
Okay, but there's a clip on YouTube where they crack it open and these guys literally just start like the smell
It's that
deteriorates them from
bad?
ever. It's apparently that bad,
Ugh.
and there's challenges on YouTube of it. So if you've tried that canned fish, let me know because I want to know how bad it is. I'm never going to try it. I just want to know if the reaction speaks for the smell.
It would have to. Ugh, gross.
I, I'm I wonder if that same reaction speaks to Jordan and Parmesan cheese because
Uh,
Jordan
I
cannot
think
stand that smell.
just get a bottle right up to his nose and just
Oof.
smell. Ooh,
Primal Beef Jerky is a sponsor of the Chubby Buddies podcast. Primal is a locally owned small batch beef jerky company. They can be found in 400 plus stores across 5 states: Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas. And if you're not in any of those 5 states, don't worry. If you go to www.feedonprimal.com, Primal Beef Jerky, as a sponsor, has given you, our listeners, a chance to receive 15% off your order. So all you have to do is go and check out all 6 flavors. So that is original, teriyaki, sweet and spicy, cracked pepper, bacon jalapeno, and am I missing one? Or is that all 6?
did you say original?
Original, teriyaki, cracked black pepper, hot and spicy, hot, and then bacon jalapeno.
There it is, right there. There's all
6
six.
flavors. And I may have said
Chubby,
that twice, so I don't know.
CHUBBY. That is the code that'll give you 15% off. And I think it's, if I remember right, it's over $50. You get free shipping. So
Yeah,
combine those
after
two
you've picked
together.
out the flavors, you don't have to get all 6, but if you get all 6, you will have reached a $50 cap. And then if you plug in the code Josh just said, which is the lowercase CHUBBY at checkout, you will receive another 15% off your order, and that's the equivalent of 1 free bag of beef jerky.
So basically, you're going to
That's
get
promo code.
one of those bags for free.
That is promo code Chubby by visiting www.feedonprimal.com. Josh's favorite flavor is the bacon jalapeno jerky.
Bacon jalapeno. Teriyaki's climbing the board, though. Teriyaki is climbing.
Mine is sweet and spicy, and then number 2 is still cracked pepper. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, I don't know of many jerkies that offer 6 flavors in the begin with.
Yeah.
But I don't know what episode it was. I asked both Josh and Jordan to express Primal in one word, and Josh was what was the word? What did you have? I don't remember. I remember my word.
I don't remember exactly, but it was like I was focusing on how thick cut and like dense and rich the meat is. Like it is prime meat. High quality meat.
They're claimed to be, well, they are self-proclaimed the world's best beef jerky, but I will argue that this is the best beef jerky that I have ever had.
Mm-hmm.
I am a dry beef jerky fan. If you love dry beef jerky, I 100% can't recommend this enough. But I do remember my word being consistent. I have not bought a bag of beef jerky from Primal, whether it be in a store or from their website, and it not taste like the last bag that I just had.
Yep.
It is 100%
right.
consistent across the board with their flavor, the density in the meat,
Yep.
and then also the customer service. Bo over at Primal works his ass off. Okay. Bo is not only 100% a genuine individual. I've met him a handful of times, like just it had nothing to do with even jerky. It was just watching a football game, hanging out at Buffalo Wild Wings with Jordan. He is one of those guys that likes to be involved in not only the community, but also with the people around him. And that is, I think, why he reached out and wanted to support this, because he likes supporting other local things that are going on around him. So
absolutely
100% consistent across the board with the flavors, the customer service, the texture of meat. You are never going to be unhappy. I promise you that. And also make sure, if you have tried them, I highly recommend leaving a review. I'm not going to go into it again, because I think last episode we went into it enough to where you got the point. Yeah. But 100% leave a review.
For sure.
Shout out Primal and Bo and Devin over at Primal Beef Jerky. I haven't dealt much with Devin, but I know him via messaging, and then I've seen him out in public. He's also a straight shooter. The dude works his ass off. He's a pilot now, for crying out loud. The Gandeman family is just stand-up individuals. If I hear Gandeman, like, there's not one bad thing that I can think about of anybody in that family.
Wait, related to the other Gandemans we know?
Zachary Gandeman?
Yeah.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Devin Gandeman.
I did not realize that Devin was related to Zach. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
man.
Devin is, I want to say that's his uncle. I'm not 100% on that part, but I do know that they are 100% related. But Zach used to be my boss at the prison.
Gandeman.
Oh, okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Devin Gandeman.
That place is thinking.
Runs Gun Bros. Him and his brother run Gun Bros. So, and I think they have another.
That's right.
I think they have another cousin that also helps run Gun Bros.
Because Jake not Zach. He's Gun Bros, doesn't he?
Jake Wells. Yep.
Yep.
He's one of the guys that his dad officiates high school football. Him and Jordan used to officiate together. And hopefully I have him on the Recess Ruckus in the near future. I think he said in the end of November or December.
You're going to get Jeff?
Yeah.
Let's go.
We'll have to have him come on here as a chubby buddy, too.
Yes. Jeff Wells as a chubby buddy would be so good. Then we can get Jake on here.
Oh, he'd be fun.
He's the OG, dude. He was our little buddy running around following us all the time at church.
Right. And
Jake loved us, man.
I want to say Gun Bros, they put out a post on their Instagram and Facebook about telling them, because if you go on their YouTube channel, they have different clips about
I've seen
Gun
their
Bros.
videos. It's hilarious.
And they asked what their favorite Gun Bros clip was, and I put the John Wick one with Jake Wells. It was 100% hilarious. So shout out Primal, shout out Gun Bros. Over to www.feedonprimal.com and use promo code Chubby at checkout for 15% off your order.
Man.
I want to start with the NFL, okay? And I wanted your take on early predictions in the NFL. And this is, I really was hoping to get other input from other people. Maybe we still have time. But I wanted your prediction of the division leaders, early division leader predictions of each division in each conference. Okay, so we'll start with. Do you want me to go first? That way I can give you mine, and then you have time to think about it. Okay.
Yeah. Let
So
me
I'm going to go.
Given.
I'm going to give the AFC and the NFC for each division. So I'm going to go North. I'm going to go AFC and then NFC. Okay. So my AFC North prediction. Okay, I think this is a very what I find interesting about this before I actually give you my early prediction is that I want to say that if you look at them side by side, so North and North for each division, right, or each conference, they're so similar it's not even funny. We could be looking at one of the most balanced seasons in NFL history just because of what has taken place in certain areas of the NFL. And when we talk about it more, I think it'll kind of catch on maybe. But let's go with the AFC North and the NFC North. My AFC North prediction is that Cincy wins the division. Second place is Baltimore. Third place is Pittsburgh, with fourth coming in with, we all know, the Browns always come up shy, except for one lucky year they played against the Chiefs to go on to the AFC Championship. But then the NFC North, I'm only saying this because I am now a Kirk Cousins guy. I think Minnesota wins that division.
Bro.
The Bears are going to come in close because I think that they've stacked that offense well enough to produce more and to help out Fields as quarterback. I mean, the only thing that they might be lacking in is offensive line. But I think with his feet and his legs, I think he's going to be able to kind of portray himself to be more like Baltimore in that aspect. But I also think he can toss that ball down the field and help out there. I mean, they've got three top tier wide receivers now with the trade that they made with the Panthers. I mean, I think that they've only bettered the offense 100%. But then I think the Lions take third. I want to see the Lions succeed in this division, but I think just having the Bears in Minnesota, that's the only thing holding them back. I am a DC guy all the way. The head coach for the Lions is Dan Campbell. He is 100% a straight shooter. I love his coaching aspect. I don't know how you have really followed him on anything, but I think Green Bay is. I think they've shot themselves in the foot, and I don't think a rebuilding season is this year. I think it's going to be in the next 5 years because they don't have a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, Jordan Love isn't the guy. I'm sorry. I watched him play against the Chiefs, and he struggled. So, I agree with your prediction with Minnesota. I think Minnesota takes it. I agree.
Is it because you're a Kirk Cousins guy too?
Partially.
I'm rooting for Kirk Cousins.
I can't deny how good that team is. Kirk has off
even
game.
Though they lost their running back.
He's good. He's good. I don't know. I do like Minnesota taking that. I think the Bears will be in close competition. The Bears could take it. On the flip side of that, the AFC side, I actually think because of Burrow's injury, I don't think Cincy takes it this year. I think,
really?
I think he's going to be hampered, and I think it's going to cause limitations for him, and I think they'll come in second. I think Baltimore takes it this year.
Okay.
Who else
Cleveland?
The Browns, Pittsburgh. Yeah, I don't think Pittsburgh has it all together yet. Although Pittsburgh could have this year. It kind of depends on how,
the quarterback comes out.
Pickens connection starts blowing up.
Their wide receivers are
George Pickens,
very hot.
Some of those camp receptions have been impressive from George Pickens.
But their defense is where I think that they are very well rounded in. I think that they've got a very good demeanor.
If TJ
Huh?
can stay healthy. If TJ can stay
But
healthy.
even if he's not, I still think that they have enough, like I guess, season in the backfield to make up for if somebody gets injured. Pittsburgh does
I have
numerous
I have
things
too many
well.
personal Pittsburgh fans that disagree with that. That say the
I
moment TJ Watt goes down, the whole defense collapses.
I
Like spirit
disagree
level.
with I don't like Pittsburgh by any means, but they do numerous things well. And one of those things is one, they always have a solid defense and backups to back up their starters. But also their head coach, I hate to say it, he's a great coach. I mean, he does
Outside
things
of,
well.
I don't even know that I can say outside of Andy Reid. It's Mike Tomlin is to me a top 3 coach in the NFL. Period.
I don't say that I would, I'm not saying
There
I
are so
disagree with
many
you, but I would have to sit
Tomlinisms
down and
that I
think about
love.
it.
There are so many Tomlinisms that I love. Um,
Andy Reid is number one in my opinion, but number two and number three are hard for me to think of because you still have Sean Payton in the mix. You still
mhm.
have, I mean,
But you can't look at Tomlin's career and not see like consistency and an incredible legacy there. Like Tomlin
right.
may not have the every year amazing stuff that like Andy Reid can create, but
But Andy
Tomlin
Reid didn't have that all the ways though
what
either.
Andy Reid is on offense, Tomlin is for defense as a head coach, as far as systems, as far as structure, as far as discipline. Like Tomlin is a phenomenal mind.
Who was the Colts head not Herm Edwards. Who was the coach for the Colts back when Peyton was there? Um
Herm Edwards would have been
it wasn't Herm Edwards. Herm Edwards was with the Jets and then Chiefs and then it was the guy that looked like Herm Edwards. He's older.
yeah, Tony Dungy. Tony
Tony
Dungy, not
Dungy. I
Herm
get a
Edwards.
lot of Tony
Tony
Dungy
Dungy.
vibes when it comes to Mike Tomlin, and
Yeah,
I
Dungy
can't do anything
wasn't
but respect that.
Dungy wasn't nearly as much of a
Verbal.
stalwart that Tomlin is. Tomlin is just such a
But
steel force, man. Like he is. When I think of the steel, like when I think of Tomlin, I think of like a coach that embodies the spirit of the Steel Curtain.
right.
Like
Now,
he is
number
tough,
one,
mentally,
we agree
physically.
that Andy Reid is number one, right?
Yeah,
For
I
for his I enjoy his enthusiasm more than I do who my number two is. Bill Belichick. You cannot deny
yeah,
Bill Belichick. You can't. But Mike Tomlin, I mean, I would probably have to sit down and think about and analyze every coach that's still in the NFL to actually say that, yeah, he's my top three. But he's definitely top five for sure,
he,
100%.
yeah, for sure.
So AFC South, NFC South, my AFC South winner, and this is where I'm going to start kind of tying in things that are weird about the NFL right here, right? AFC South. The AFC South has nothing but rookies in that division, dude, as quarterbacks, except for Tennessee, right? Tennessee, solid quarterback. That's why I have them winning. Okay.
Okay.
Indianapolis Colts, I think we have our rookie of the year quarterback.
Yes, I like
Jacksonville
that.
Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars have a young quarterback, but I think he's developing at such a rate that you can't deny that he's going to be great in at whatever team he may end up at, whether he stays with the Jacksonville Jaguars or not. But I still think that that division is so weird because you have so many rookies in positions like the quarterback for Indianapolis Colts. You have a rookie for the Texans. You have a rookie, and that's why I have the Texans losing that division just because I don't think that they're there yet offense by any means, and they're not known for having everything put together at all towards the end of the season. So
I like the call of the Titans to take it. I agree with that. I think I'm going to put Anthony Richardson in the Colts at number 2. I agree with you. I like the call of him as rookie of the year. You don't think um Bryce Young? You don't think Bryce Young
I
gets it?
don't.
I don't think
I
so
don't
either.
think so. I don't think and when we actually finish up, I think it'll kind of tie in because there's no divisions in the NFC that I see that are powerhouses like one division in the NFL, two divisions in the AFC, really. But for
Right.
my NFC South, I've got New Orleans. This is a weird one because I don't see anybody standing out higher than anybody else in the NFL, and that's why I have New Orleans winning it. And this is all by chance. This one was hard for me to choose. New Orleans number 1, Tampa
Hmm.
Bay number 2. Who's it? Oh, Carolina number 3, and then Atlanta. I still don't think that they're going to have it together because they have too many questions at quarterback. But anything can happen in that division because they have so many season / rookies on all those teams. Like New Orleans, they don't have. I don't think their coach has everything together yet. I mean, this is what, his 3rd season probably,
Yeah, that sounds right.
and their quarterback is
Thoughts on
Jameson.
yeah, nope.
It's not Jameis Winston.
Derek Carr, baby.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all about that. Okay, so
Derek
I
Carr.
guess I'm glad I picked them at number 1. Tampa Bay,
You've also
though. I
got
mean,
Alvin Kamara out now, though.
he's out for the season.
Yeah, he's not for the season, but he's out for I think 3 or 6 games.
I might have to change that then, because if he's out and Michael Thomas just isn't producing, and he's on the end of his contract, isn't he?
3 games. Alvin Kamara got suspended for 3 games after a fight.
Oh, and they always play, I think, Tampa Bay game 1 every year almost.
So, I don't know. That 3 games isn't enough to, I think, shift their ability.
No, unless it was all 3 division games.
I could still see the Saints taking it.
Could you see that ever being a rule? Instead of just suspending somebody for 3 games, you suspend them for 3 games of their division.
No.
That would be wild. That would be crazy.
It would feel way.
That's the only way I see that being
way too biased.
Right.
It would influence playoff stuff way too much.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that would be crazy. But that's why I think I have Carolina at number 3 and Atlanta, because watching quarterback, I don't think Atlanta has everything together yet. I think they still have Calvin Ridley, right?
Yes, I believe so.
I think that's their only wide receiver that's not just seasoned, but also knows everything that they need to know to, I guess, produce wins.
Their weapons are Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts.
And Kyle Pitts is never promising.
Yeah.
I hope the best for him.
He's talented, but he needs a quarterback that can throw to him.
I couldn't even tell you the starting quarterback. That's the bad thing. It's the guy that took over for right now. It's the guy that took over for Mariota.
Better or something, or
Reader, something like that. Yeah. So what about you?
I would say the Saints for sure. Gosh, I think you're right. This one's the messiest one to play in. I like
the AFC.
I like Derek Carr as a stabilizing factor there for the Saints, and I could definitely see that being the big factor in it. I'll tell you what, you're not sold at all on CJ Stroud and the Texans. I think I'm a little higher up on them than you are. I think CJ Stroud's got a little bit to him that I think.
So you have the Texans. You mean in the AFC? You have the Texans higher?
Yeah, AFC side. Because I'm just
the Jags
back to what you comment about, huh?
And I guess you don't have them at 4. You have them at 3, and then the Jags at 4.
I have it 3, maybe even 2. I think CJ Stroud could end up being competition for that offensive player of the year.
The only thing that could be, I'm saying rookie of the year, like 100. He's going to be.
Well, that's what I mean. CJ Stroud's a rookie too.
So the only thing that scares me also about that, if you're going to go up against Indianapolis has a pretty well aged offensive line. The Texans do not. They don't have enough backup.
That would be the challenge that I would face. However, it's also going to matter, what their pocket presence is like and how the defenses play.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see how they play. Like once we see them play a couple of games, I'll have a better feel for it. But yeah, I don't have the Texans that low.
But like I said, that was the hard division for both the AFC and the NFC across the board, that it's going to be hard to predict because you have so many young athletes in those positions, like quarterback, wide receiver. I mean, Texans have, I don't think they have anybody anymore at wide receiver, and their running back is probably one of their stronger points. He was a rookie last year, wasn't he?
Think so, or a couple of years ago.
Or was that 10? No, yeah, that was the Texans. and he produced pretty well. So that's the only reason why I said that. It was hard for me to pick the AFC and the NFC South winners across the board just because of all the young talent. But let's move down to the East so we can get that out of the way.
Yeah,
Okay, so
let's
the
hear the
East,
East.
the AFC East is, I'm going to say this on record, it is the most stacked division in the AFC. 100%.
Okay.
The Jets, I have a feeling they're going to take that division, but it's going to be a close one with the Bills going at 2, Miami at 3, and the Patriots at number 4. In fact, we
Wow.
may very well see the first time, I think, in history that division, everybody could go to the playoffs.
Do you think they will?
It's not that I think that they will. I think that like this could be the best chance for as long as Bill Belichick gets his quarterback on the same page as the wide receivers he's picked up. Like they got two, was it one wide receiver from the Chiefs or was it two? Because they picked up the guy that was at the Steelers and went to the Chiefs, and then
Juju?
Juju. They got
Yeah.
Juju.
They got Juju. Okay.
So I think if he can get his quarterback on the same page as the wide receivers, and if he can bring that running game back into also being a receiver, that kind of
Hmm.
like when he had it with Tom Brady, then I think that they're going to succeed very well in the division. Maybe very well even surprise us and take Miami out. I don't know. But I think
Hmm.
that's the hardest division in the AFC, and that's kind of where I also kind of, I mean, I've got how many rules in the NFL? One is I don't bet on the Dallas Cowboys, and two, I don't bet on Tom Brady.
You
But
don't bet
now that
against
Tom
Tom
Brady's no
Brady
longer
yet.
there, Dallas has taken the NFC East, and I'm going to say this. I think this is going to be one of these weird years. Okay, Dallas takes it at number 1. Number 2 is going to be the Giants, and number 3, I think the Eagles have this flop year. I don't think they're going to have a losing
Wow.
record, but I think they're going to struggle with offense. I think that's the only thing that they're going to struggle with is offense. Defense, I think that they're very well placed in the NFL just because of, I mean, they've added players who have played together for so many years that they're all going to be on the same page right when they get put on that field. So I think that that's where they're going to succeed highly at in the NFL completely. But I don't think that they do as well as everybody thinks that they are, and as well as they did last year. And that's why I think the Redskins come at 4. Or my bad, Washington,
The
Commanders,
Commanders.
and they have a petition right
I've
now to where
heard.
you can
I've
sign
heard.
it. So
I've heard. Washington's last place for me. Uh, I think I'm in disagreement here, though. Uh,
I
sorry.
love Jason Kelsey, by the way. So
No
no
offense to
hate.
your Cowboys, but it's Eagles at number 1 for me. I think I'd probably say I think the Cowboys might take number 2 in the division, with Giants taking number 3. Or sorry, no,
Yeah, that's right.
no, it doesn't work out that way because it would be
You said
yeah,
Redskins last.
yeah. Redskins last, Giants at 3, y'all at 2, and Eagles at 1. Um, AFC side, uh,
That's a stacked division,
that
man.
it is a stacked division. Um,
Hard to
gosh,
predict.
I don't see Rodgers. I see Rodgers doing well. I don't see Rodgers doing that well that he's able to outdo what Josh and the Bills are able to do. So I'm going to say the Bills take 1. I'm going to say Jets take 2, Miami at 3, uh, New England at 4.
You're just flipping it. Okay.
Yeah,
Did they end up getting Dalvin Cook? Do you know? I think because he's been practicing with them.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know if 100% if he signed or not, but
Well, if he's practicing, he signed.
well, no, he was. They had a like a when he, I guess when he landed, they greeted him and like he said, if I wanted to go somewhere, like and this was during mini camp, he said if I was wanting to go somewhere, they've done it. They've shown me love and everything like that. He is not at this point. I don't know, but at the point of where he said this, he said that they said that he was still with the Vikings, like on paper, but he's practicing with the New England, New York Jets.
Hmm.
So I don't know 100%. Well, I mean, I'll have to do more of a deep dive and also pay attention, but I don't think he's fully on paper as a Jet, nor do I think he's fully on paper away from the Vikings. And that's the only weird thing about that because that could go if he just adds to the Jets ammo, that's just scary. I mean, Dalvin Cook is a top 5 running back in the NFL.
He
He's
is.
also a a great receiver in the backfield for screens, for just making
No, the Vikings
linebackers.
released him, dude.
But he's
Vikings
not signed
released him.
anywhere.
Nope. He's still a free agent, but the Vikings released him.
But he was practicing with the Vikings, so or with the Jets. My bad. All right, so that leads us into the AFC and NFC West. Okay,
Yep.
this is a no-brainer because I think the AFC West has sort of fallen off, not just with not with the
Well,
talent, because I think the talent is just as good as it is anywhere else. I just don't think that the expectation is there. I think the Chiefs
competition.
win it. The hardest thing for me to go against is Sean Payton, because as a head coach, he's 100%, like we've agreed, he's a top 5
Mhm.
head coach in the NFL. But I hope that what happened with their last coach doesn't happen with him this year. Like he doesn't, he almost felt restricted, I think, in ways. But I think
Sure.
Sean Payton might coach that out of him. But we'll see. Chiefs at number 1, Chargers at number 2. I think Air Bear is just. I think he's a commander on the field. I
Air
mean, he's
Bear.
just a.
I like
That's what he
that.
is, man.
Air Bear.
Air Bear. He's my guy, man. I root for Air Bear, but not as much as I do for Kirk Cousins. I'm rooting for Kirk Cousins to succeed before he retires from the NFL. I want success. I want to see
I,
success for him.
I do have to admit, Herbert is he's got
Air
currently my
Bear.
favorite. Yeah, Herbert. He's currently got my favorite fantasy football team name, which is Rainbow Herbert. That's my
Rainbow
team name.
Herbert. Huh.
Yeah, that has him
Okay.
on it, and it's fun.
But I
So
got Chargers at number 2 with, if Sean Payton doesn't succeed the way that I hope that he does, then Denver at number 3 with
okay.
your Vegas Raiders at number 4. But who knows? I think the Vegas Raiders could be very surprising, especially with Adams as a wide receiver and their quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. As long as he's healthy, he's always going to be a weapon of
Oh,
choice.
Garoppolo.
But with the NFC Rams, this one was a little questionable for me, just because we still don't know the 49ers thing at quarterback yet, and that's
Yeah.
Rams, 49ers, Seattle's, and the Cardinals. So that one was. Eh. They've also fallen off of that map because the NFC West used to be just like the AFC West. They were very, at one time, the 3 of those teams, before they added this 17th game, all 3 of them were in the playoffs with a wild card. So
Yep. I see the 49ers still probably dominating that. Maybe the Rams coming in second there. Who are the other two teams?
Seattle and the Cardinals.
Yeah, Seattle third, Cardinals fourth. Actually, Gino might, here in year 2, Gino might be able to get some work done. I don't know. Let's see. But I'm going to call it like
This
that.
could be a very exciting year for football fans just because of how balanced
Mm.
everything is in all the divisions. The only
I don't think it's
division that I had
balanced in the
question
AFC
about.
West. I think the Chiefs pretty much dominate the AFC West.
No, I'm saying like with talent wise, like
Oh
the
yeah.
question with the South AFC South was the biggest question because you don't know what's going to happen with the 2 rookies if they're starting quarterbacks by the end of
Yep.
the season, of course.
It's going to be a fun year for
So
football, I think.
yeah, I don't think it's going to be a one person. I think it's going to be a dogfight all the way to the Super Bowl, and that's what I'm saying. AFC has so many big names in it, like the Chiefs. I mean, you're always going to have the Bills. Cincinnati is still always going to be a name, but with the NFC, they've gotten soft because too many teams are running one division. So like you have that one division of like the Rams. Like the Rams, they haven't had a quarterback, so we don't know what's going to go on with that. But I hope the best for the 49ers as defense. Their defense is just, it's like the Eagles in the East for the NFC. So they've just stacked that defense up very well.
It'll be
I
fun
want
to
to see
watch.
Sean Payton succeed though.
Same. I not so much that it affects our team,
Again, yeah.
but
But
I
if it
do want
does,
to
you wouldn't
see
be
Sean
surprised
Payton.
though, would you?
No, God, no, I wouldn't. And in fact, it does have me more worried about our Denver games moving forward. Like I wasn't intimidated by Denver last year. I'm intimidated a little bit more by Denver this year because they have Sean Payton at the helm. Like he is that much of a factor.
Yeah.
And
He's a
him
leader
with
for
Russ
sure.
Wilson, I think we're going to get to see Russ of old a coached Russell Wilson is always better, and I think that's what we're going to get.
I think he's going to be very much more protected as a quarterback, and I think
God, I
that's
hope
only
so.
good for Russell Wilson.
I hope so. Poor Russ, man. That dude, I think that's probably the hardest part about his career. If you look at it historically, he's always on the run. That dude has
Yeah.
never had a secure pocket ever in his
I
career.
can think of one year that he was successful in a pocket, and that was the year he
The Super
won
Bowl
the.
year,
That was the only year. Well, actually, that was
year
the
that
only
they went to
game.
the Super Bowl
That
and
was the only
lost.
game
Yeah.
because the Denver Broncos didn't show up at all that game. Von Miller didn't do anything like he was doing that
Oh,
season.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
like, if Von Miller was playing like he was throughout his whole career, there's no reason Russell Wilson shouldn't have not been in the pocket. I mean, that dude threw for, we don't even know how many yards. Like, I couldn't even guess. But they brought the heat against Peyton all game. So, who knows? But your MLB is where we're going to have a lot of, like questions for you, man. Because you guys
Man.
are 11 games back, winning, what, four? I think 4 of 6 now. But the only reason I know that is because the Cubs have just been showing up for every game.
Dude, you're freaking Cubs. I'm so mad. Ugh. It has been ugly.
30 plus points scored against the Reds in 2 games. That whole series was that series was crazy because they haven't scored that. I don't remember what year they said, but I
I
want to
was
say it was
not
like the
super mad about y'all
1930s.
beating the Reds though, because that helps us in the long run.
But you're still 11 games back, and that's the only downfall for you.
Yeah, dude. No, we are in trouble. I don't see us making it to the playoffs this year. However, I was very satisfied with the trades that we made at the trade deadline.
So was I with the Cubs because I saw it was crazy.
We traded off 2 of our pitchers and got back 4 closers and an infielder. We got a really good trade system and beefed up our closing pitching staff. It's so much better. Oh, so the question
Right.
is, can Ollie do something with it?
I don't know. I mean, you guys are, I think, tied for wins against the Pirates. I think you guys have the same amount of wins.
If Ollie doesn't do something this year, I don't know that they'll keep him. Last year was such a bitter ending that having
you can almost say that about any player
year,
in the MLB, though. You don't know if anybody's going to be kept by an
this
MLB
is
team. That's
this
crazy.
is our manager. That's our manager, Ollie
Right.
Marmol.
Oh, my bad.
I think he's gonna get tossed after this year if he can't recover this.
How many seasons is this for him?
This will be year number 2 for him.
Really?
And last year was a
You
good
think he's
season.
just going to get dropped?
If we stay flat like this, he will be the one who who takes the axe. Someone's gonna take an axe for how bad this season has been. It won't be Wilson Contreras because we paid him a lot of money to come. So it's got to be the manager of the team. It's got to be Ollie. And so if he doesn't find a way to recover this team and get it at least looking like it's on the right path, they'll axe him. That's just how that's how baseball works. That's how the Cardinals organization works. It's too much history to let a guy go 3 years in without showing any structure or any sort of forward progress. So,
well, I mean, it's always good to let coaches have. Well, baseball is a lot more different than football, but you see it a lot more in baseball just because of I think a lot of how long the seasons go, and that's the downfall.
totally.
So, but you don't watch. We've already discussed this too, but you don't watch MMA or boxing or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch Diaz versus Jake Paul.
I saw the highlights from that,
and I didn't expect Diaz to win at all. I called the fight. I said Diaz will lose by decision to Jake Paul, and it was unanimous. It was a unanimous decision because he doesn't have that knockout power. But at the end of the fight, they both agreed on an MMA fight. So I think that could be even more exciting. It's always exciting to see Diaz in the ring. I don't know if you've ever seen him fight. He's just that heel that everybody. He's like the Stone Cold of UFC. He don't give a damn about anybody else. Anybody who says anything, he literally is Stone Cold because he flips everybody off. Like when they go to tag, gloves like at the right before a fight. He
Flips
doesn't
them off.
tag their gloves. He flips them off.
That's funny.
But they both showed showman, like they were both showmen at the end of it. Like they both congratulated each other, even though there was like scuffles at like weigh-ins and
Sure.
all that stuff. So it was just awesome to see that, just because it was Diaz, and everybody's paying for that pay-per-view to see Jake Paul lose. 100%. Nobody's there to
Dude,
see
Jake
Diaz.
Paul knows his market. He knows people wants to see him get his face punched in.
Yeah, and he's the best.
He's
He's
making
the
money off
most
of it,
talked
dude.
about. He's the most talked about boxer in all of boxing, and he's not even the greatest boxer. So that goes to show you that he knows what he's doing. And
So it doesn't sound like it was nearly as exciting of a fight as the baseball fight. Did you see that one?
I did not see that.
Hang on, let me pull this up because this was wild. Um,
I don't know if
on
you can share anything on
Saturday,
yours, but we'll have to
uh, on
link this
Saturday,
video.
it was I think it was the Braves. Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez. Okay, so it was the White Sox and the Guardians. So it
I'm gonna have to
was.
look this up.
You got to look this up. White Sox and the Guardians.
Guardians.
Jose Ramirez is sliding into second and gets tagged by the shortstop, Tim Anderson, and like they start mouthing off to each other immediately, and then Anderson like pulls his gloves off and gets into a fighting stance, and him and Ramirez just start going at it, and Ramirez is like got his head ducked down and he's throwing punches, and then he just happens to like pop his head up and hook, and he catches Anderson right in his jaw, and Anderson just drops. I mean,
Did the
just
bases
goes
or
to the ground.
did the bitches clear?
Oh God, yeah, yeah. Benches cleared. Everybody was out there. It was hot, but it
I
was intense, dude.
I mean, I hate to see bad sportsmanship happen, but when stuff like that happens, like athletically, like egos take over for sure, but
Yep,
also competitiveness is like the biggest thing of why like things like that happen. And I'm not against it, but they allow it in hockey. So why not allow things like allow hockey rules, like once they go down separate them, but why get in the middle of it? Like why risk getting hit, right?
a
Like that's
fair
the big thing
question.
about baseball. Like let them go to the ground, let them beef it out, and usually they end up good friends afterwards. Now baseball, there's so much hatred towards different teams, and that's the only thing that you'd get from that is like another rivalry, kind of like with in NFL, like you have the Browns and who was that? The Browns and Steelers with the helmet
Yeah,
hit.
Brandon
I mean,
Steelers
that's
won. Yeah,
like that is expected because of the rivalry there, but like it
right.
only adds to that rivalry. Now with
Sure.
baseball, old rival, like I would say the biggest rivalry
Rivalries
in
are
baseball.
old, man.
Oh yeah,
Rivalries
and
in
it's
baseball are old,
and you
and they
can't
are
get any
really
better than that. Those are your best games, and those are the most competitive games usually. Now, granted, those are the games also that could take a
that
slump,
get
and it's just
heated,
a
that get.
wipeout.
Oh yeah, but
But
that's
they're
the thing
still
about
exciting to anticipate.
you almost always though you rarely see those being blowouts because there's a sense of pride that's on the line.
Just like with the
So
AFC West, those games are usually always close, not because of just the athleticism, but because of the rivalry. Everybody knows that the Chiefs and the Raiders hate each other, but usually
yeah,
back in when we were younger, we those
it
were
was
always
competitive.
a toss-up game. You never knew who
Yep.
was going to win, and usually they split that difference every year. But now the Chiefs are really just Patrick Mahomes has known how to close games now for 4 straight years, and he's everybody's daddy in that division. So
Bet I like it. I like the way you say it. That's well said.
I'm never gonna turn down, even though I hate his wife's like behavior and all that stuff. I will never not give credit where credit is due. Patrick Mahomes is a just that show added to quarterback added to the respect given to him. He's a
Has
leader on
to.
the field. He's very verbal. It
Yep.
goes to show you that the more verbal a leader is, it gets through to the people who need to be led. So whether that's negative leading or positive leading, it's still getting to that person that needs to get it across to him. So
Mm-hmm.
I will always give that to him. But I do have one more thing to highlight about the UFC, or about fighting in general. It was boxing.
Yeah.
I watched probably one of the best boxing matches, like, well, not the best, but the most intensified women's bout. Right? It was between two women. This woman that one of the women that was fighting, I think she's like a champion in 7 different weight classes. So she's got 7 different belts. She's just a badass. That's all you can say about it. And her name was Amanda. I don't know if it's Siriano or Siriana or something like that, but it was her versus Heather Hardy. And Heather Hardy's a 41-year-old woman. I highly suggest you at least go watch the highlights of this if you ever get a chance. She just doesn't give up. She didn't give a shit. She's been knocked out by this chick once before, but it was a championship bout, so it was for a belt. Heather
Dang.
Hardy obviously didn't win it, but she just wasn't giving up, and she was getting cracked. You knew who was going to win when it came down to it, but she didn't get knocked out and went
And she
all the
just
way to
kept
the
fighting.
finish.
That's
She
awesome.
just kept fighting, and the ref put a stop to her like 2 different times that I can recall because of she was bleeding and she was kind of stumbling, and she said no, and then like she's like no, I want to keep going, and she just did like that resilience, or
Yeah.
what word did you use, tenacity, that it comes with just athletes in general. Like women's sports do not get the highlight that they deserve. Granted, there are women's sports that we aren't necessarily fans of, but this fight, I think anybody watching just gave just that much more respect to women boxing in general. It was.
Speaking of speaking of highlighting women's sports, did you see that the U.S. women's soccer team unfortunately lost?
I did see that. I
Penalty
follow.
kick to
What was the
Sweden.
girl's name?
Oh,
That Alex Morgan. I follow Alex
mhm.
Morgan on social media. She's a she's a bad woman, man. Like, just
Talented athlete.
no, she's just a she's to me, she's like that. Yeah, she's pretty for sure. But when I say she's a bad woman, like she don't give a shit who's in her
Yeah,
way.
she's
Like, she will
yeah,
run you
yeah.
over.
She's
She will.
badass. Yeah, she's an awesome athlete. Yeah,
Phenomenal.
yeah.
But like, that's the thing about women's sports. Like, nobody's gonna know this unless they actually finally decide to sit down and watch it. Like, you can watch highlights all day, but that still doesn't tell the story of what this person, or what this, I guess, generation of women are going through. Yeah, they're probably underpaid. I know nothing about the mathematics behind that,
Of course
but
they are. Yeah,
the fights that I've seen with women, I am always much more excited about because they have something to fight for. Not just a
there you go,
belt,
man.
not just a paycheck. They're fighting for a difference, really. They're
Respect.
fighting
Yeah.
for that difference, for not just the respect, not just the equal pay, but to get yours and my eyes on that television. Because we
Hmm.
were that. I mean, I've said it before. I've never liked the women's basketball league, but you have those athletes out there that are trying to catch eyes like yours and eyes, to watch, just to watch
Hmm.
for 5 seconds, just to see what they're about. And this fight between Heather Hardy straight up gave me 100% that much more respect for women's boxing,
That's
just
awesome.
because of she's 41 years old and beat a girl who is literally, I think, 26, 20, either 26 or 28, but she was almost twice her age, standing toe to toe with just pretty much an ass beating, but she still didn't give up.
That's
And that's
awesome.
usually what you see out of men's sports. But women's sports do deserve that respect 100%. And I will always, like I said, I will always give a respect where respect is due. Pat McAfee, this man, I don't know if you watch the ESPYS, but I at least highly recommend that you watch the intro that he gave about women's sports. It
Yeah.
was it was very much worth listening to, because I mean, you're a dad of a daughter,
Oh
and then
yeah.
you have like Jordan. He's not. I mean, he's got one son, a stepson, and then he's got nothing but
Three dollars.
girls
Yep.
around him. So you have those eyes on you, and the way that you go about day to day activity, or attacking each day. Like, I mean, you could admit that you've done mental health stuff. Like, you go and
Hmm.
see a person to talk about things. A lot of women and girls these days are almost afraid to talk about it because they feel like they're going to get like like made fun of, and that's the bullying
Yeah.
aspect of things. Whether or not it's their grade, it's men in general. I will never shut down a woman who is uh, willing to take an ass beating, either an ass beating like what I saw last night, or just to step into a ring and say that I'm here, pretty much. And Pat McAfee highlighted that very well just in women's sports in general. So
Good.
I highly recommend you go watch that. Heartland Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, we got to promo some wrestling, y'all. Their show is coming up. It is going to be August 12th at the. Oh gosh, come on, JD. The
Leavenworth
Local Hotel. Sorry, brain freeze. Leavenworth Local, y'all. That's such a fun hotel. It's a former, I think it was a school at one time, and then it got converted. It's a historical building. It's a cool little place. You got to check it out. But yeah, their show is going to be August 12th at 6 p.m. That's when the bell rings. It's $12 to get in, general admission. $15 kind of early bird gets you in. It's going to get you front row seat. It's going to get you in to get snacks and gear early on. Might even get to meet a couple of the wrestlers. And then they've even got the ability, y'all. They've even got the ability. Not only can you purchase your tickets once you get to the door, but you can purchase them right now by scanning the QR code that is about to cover my face right now. So Bobby does this in post work. So there you go. Scan this QR code, and that'll take you to the website where you can buy the tickets right now for this show, August 12th. The Heartland Championship Wrestling, y'all. It's going to be a great show. I know we talked about a really good match last time in oh gosh, who was that? That was Logan Knight. Logan Knight and Chance Kerrigan. That's the match we got to promote. Chance Kerrigan with his high risk kind of attitude. Logan Knight being kind of the more fighter, the hard hitter type. So it'll be good to see who wins that. My money's on Chance Kerrigan. So Chance, don't let me down. Let's see that W. But we'll see if Logan Knight can pull things off. But yeah, that's Heartland Championship Wrestling, the 12th. Make sure you go catch that show.
They also have Wichita shows coming up. Those will be in the links down below. I highly recommend you go and check out their Facebook page. It's like I've said numerous times before, so on repeat, it's one of the largest growing Facebook pages I have on my Facebook profile that I follow. Like, they're putting out new content every day. They promote everything about their fighters, and that's one thing that Billy does well. But before I get into that more, don't forget that if you do buy those online with the QR code that'll be over Josh's face at that moment, it is a $1 surcharge on top of that. So just in case you see that and you don't notice it right away, so just don't be alarmed. It is $1 just for the processing fee. So, but Billy over at XWE was on, it's not XWE. I'm sorry. HCW, Heartland Championship Wrestling. I do apologize. But Billy over there, he was on a podcast on Thursday. I don't know if you were able to chime in or not. He was talking about
I was not.
The I-70 podcast over there. Shout out I-70. It's called the I-70 Hot Tag podcast over there. I think they're in Missouri, I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, I got to sit in for I think the first 30, 45 minutes, and then I had other stuff that I had to do. But like, you had so many people in there chiming in about how Billy's where they got their start, how he was their instructor and all that stuff. So like, you really got to kind of take in everything that he's a part of with his organization, because everybody that wasn't in his organization was also chiming in about the type of person who highlights either hard work, good sportsmanship, very well to be coachable. Like, anybody who's able to listen, I think, will benefit from Billy. If you're a person who wants to be in wrestling or involved in the wrestling world, I highly suggest going to check out their Facebook page, because they also include schooling to become a professional wrestler. And
sure, you can train. You can train with Billy. He's good at it.
He's dedicated his life literally to this. He's living his dream. He's one of many of our friends who are living their dream, and I think that he is one who has strived the longest because he's been
Mhm.
doing this for so long. He's literally been doing it. I think he's since he was 10 years old, was it? Since
Yeah,
he's been
since he
doing
was a
backyard
kid, man,
wrestling.
this has always been what he does.
So
And when he moved here,
to
he
take it
brought it
from
to
somebody who is living their dream, you can't go wrong by listening to somebody who knows the ins and outs of the work that it takes to put in to be a professional wrestler. So Uh,
Absolutely.
but there's so many shows coming up for them. They're just building everything up from the ground, literally from the ground up. And it's been a quite the honor to watch him live his dream and build everything from the ground up and work with his little brother, Daniel, who's also a part of the podcast. He just has been on in a while, but it's really
We
fun
miss you, plus
to
one.
watch that. Yeah, plus one.
We miss you.
But what kind of other experience? Because I've never been to a show there. What other experiences did you have? Like, did you get like when you go like when you're watching WWE on television,
Mhm.
like the vibe in there, if everybody knows what's going on, they participate in the I guess not the bickering, but the banter from the
Yep.
other wrestlers. Is it anything like that there?
100% like that. And I would say even more so because it's a small crowd, because it's a small house show. Ultimately, what you're seeing is a much more personal interaction from all the wrestlers. In fact, I can remember the last show we were at, the wrestlers would interact with fans on the front row. In fact, there was even one match that came outside of the ring. There's a couple of kids sitting next to us who freaked out because the wrestlers started wrestling in the chairs just a couple of seats from us. I mean, one guy got slammed into the chairs and he sat right there and they're punching him, and these two girls are right next to it, just like, oh, what do we do? And it's like everything that an experience of being in a wrestling environment feels like. It's that on a personal scale. It's so cool. Like there's an element where you have to go in, you have to let loose, you have to be okay with having fun and soaking up the fun of it all, if you know what I mean, the show of it all. But when you do, man, it is a blast. It's one of the most fun experiences you can do. It's super family friendly, and it's you'd never regret it.
I will say this, and I'm not taking anything out of context because I do remember either Jordan saying this. I think Jordan said this with BJ on here or Billy on here. The owner of the Leavenworth local hotel said that he only wants to work with Billy because he's had people who have just been staying at the local hotel just said, "Hey, I want to kind of go see what's going on," and they've been a guest at the hotel, and then they go watch the show, and then they're surprised about how entertaining it is. But it's
Yeah.
also it draws you in. So, like, I would give you an experience that I had when I was in Amarillo with Billy. Everything literally from the beginning of the show to the end of the show, it takes people who know what's going on to keep the show going. So like
Hmm.
me and Josh were able to, I guess, dip our toes into the water of a, I guess, security type realm is what you would call it, where you were kind of separating guests from
Hmm.
wrestlers because you do have those wrestlers that will go back and forth and banter with people that are watching. And
And we'll piss people off and we'll get them
oh,
worked up. And you might
100%.
get somebody who wants to take a swing at a wrestler.
It
Like,
was a total different experience, like, you don't recognize until you're a part of it, and I will say that, I've got much more respect for somebody who now is a wrestler who is willing to go that extra mile for the show and say something that it may or may not be offensive or anything like that, but I can tell you just from what I gather with HCW is that they're family friendly, so they're not gonna make it too uncomfortable for you, but they'll banter back and forth with you,
oh
so
yeah.
but the wrestlers that will go that extra mile just to make the show that much better and risk the chance of because you don't know what could happen with a fan. Like you don't know if you're going to get under their skin, but they're willing to take that chance. And that's really what wrestling is all about, taking chances.
So much of Billy's roster is that type too. They're the types that engage well with their fans and go the extra step to make it an incredible experience. So you just can't go wrong with them. It's one of the best crews I've seen. He's got a great roster. That's all there's to it.
Over
HCW
at
Leavenworth local August 12th show. Go check it out.
But hey, we really took our entertainment thing out of the realm, but it was
We
very,
did,
it was
man.
very well, it was very well, I guess, planned because it kind of fit in with what we were dealing with. Because
Yeah,
you were going to be watching What About Bob? I enjoy the movie, and then I had just started watching Guardians of the Galaxy,
it's good
so I'm not
dialogue.
too upset with that. But have you been watching that? What's that podcast with that rapper that you like? Uh, he's not a rapper. He's a musician or a musical artist. The RFRDI show on
Oh,
TikTok.
Nick. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Nick and Cakes.
they are so entertaining on those little shorts. I
Heck
can't
yeah,
get
dude.
past. I want to know who comes up with their content ideas because it's very well planned out.
It's Cakes. It's
Like
Cakes.
the
He's a genius, dude.
like
Cakes is
they're what is that I forgot what they call it, but like they try to think of a number. Like if you were to think of a number, I don't even know what this is called, but it's really cool. They think of a number, and then what was the rapper's name again? I'm sorry,
uh so the rapper's name is Nick. So it's
Nick
Nick
D.
and then yeah, Nick D and then Cakes is Cakes Mitchell
Okay, well,
is the
Cakes
contract.
Mitchell thinks of a number, while
Yeah.
Nick D sits here and asks him questions. So he's
Ask him
like
questions and guesses.
asks
Yeah,
the number based upon.
he's like an F-150. Well, that makes me think the number's high now. And it's just like, what are
Well,
you
did
getting?
you see
What
the
are you
newest one
talking?
that he put out? It was perfect because he said, "Give me a breakfast." Like he said, "Give me a breakfast, a morning breakfast." And he's like, "Eggs, bacon, sausage, whatever, whatever." He's like, "Man, I'm thinking 10 because that's a 10 breakfast right there." And then he's like, "Give me." I think he called. It's called brain links or wavelengths, is what they called it.
Wavelengths, yeah.
I think they tagged the name, and it's very well played out because it doesn't seem like they know what's going on, but like they
They're
feed
funny,
off
dude.
each other very
They're
well,
good. Yeah,
and their
they get
drafts
a
are
really good
awesome.
dynamic together.
The best things draft. Oh man, that's so awesome. Worst things draft. I still think was better because I still agree with Nick D's number one wet socks. Oh my
Wet
gosh,
socks, bro. Awful.
wet
Just
socks,
awful.
the worst.
Well, man, this was fun.
Well,
I
yeah.
enjoyed it.
I mean, it could have been better just a little bit. It could have been better. It could have been that much better, but it's all right. We'll wait
Next
till
time.
next time.
Next time.
And I'm going to keep that stuff for next time too, in
Good.
case
Same.
you were wondering. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I love you,
Ready to
buddy.
go when he is.
And next Saturday, I'm trying to think if there's anything that I'm doing next Saturday. I'm hoping next Saturday works for you. So we'll see
Yep.
what happens.
Should.
We'll talk later.
Sounds good.
All right, bud. Well, I love
All
you.
right. Love you, dude.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.